Namaskar. Welcome to Conversations with Rakesh. Today I don't have a question, but I have a summary of various conversations and debates that I was involved in the last few days. A very celebrated CEO there was a podcast between two famous CEOs, and the podcast's intention was very good, and it was about how do we build our country, and I watched the whole podcast, but one sentence has created debate in the social media. The sentence was that we should work 14 hours a day, or 70 hours a week, kind of a debate. So I thought I'll talk about that because it's important for us to understand the core issue. And in this video, I want to address my views on this question, that should we be busy or should we be productive? And I'll demystify it from my own experiences. I did some study on this. Today morning, The Hindu had a brilliant analysis by two authors, and here is that newspaper. The title says, Putting the 70-Hour Work Week Idea into Perspective, authored by Jasmine Nehalani and Vignesh Radhakrishnan. Very good analysis of the issue with right data. So please read that if you get a chance, and I'll put the link in the notes. But I wanted to also talk about 2-3 very critical concepts and then give my views on should one be busy or should one be productive. The first concept is a social concept that in many of our cultures, especially Indian cultures, we frown on this concept of shortcuts. कि भाई shortcuts नहीं लेने. बचपन में भी सिखाया जाता है कि बैठो, मेहनत करो, कॉन्सेप्ट को सीखो. ये शॉर्टकट, कुंजी, टोटके वाला आंसर, कैलकुलेटर वाला आंसर इज़ अ बैड आइडिया. So we take pride in this whole sitting down, working hard, and not giving up till we find the right answer, because shortcuts are frowned on. And this creates a problem, because when we come to the corporate world or when we are working on various problems, sometimes shortcuts are very good. They save productive time. And there are so many episodes, so many incidences where shortcuts have led to amazing results. But again, we frown on shortcuts and we feel कि बहुत मेहनत करना is virtuous और कम मेहनत करना is laziness, गंदगी, bad. I think that's a core issue. So keep that in mind, that this debate is also happening because of this perception कि shortcuts गंदे हैं और खूब मेहनत करना ही अच्छी बात है. That's the righteousness of good students and good people. Keep that in mind. Number 2, that is a very interesting concept, is from the economics world, that there is a concept called law of diminishing returns. अभी क्या होता है भाई कि चलो मैंने 1 घंटा मेहनत करी और चलो इतना आउटपुट आया. अब मैं 2 घंटा मेहनत करूँगा तो हो सकता है 2 गुना आउटपुट आए. 3 घंटा मेहनत करूँगा 3 गुना आउटपुट आए. बट दिस लॉ ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स सेज दैट adding these number of hours does not necessarily translate in the same results and multiples of it. There is a point where the output is peaked and it starts to reduce. This is called the law of diminishing returns. आप गूगल कर लेना. And I agree with that कि भाई अगर मैं सुबह 1 घंटा बैठूंगा और चलो मैंने बड़ा अच्छा सा काम किया वर्थ लेट्स से 20 मिनट्स, पर अब मैं 2 घंटा बैठूंगा, इट डजंट मीन कि 40 मिनट का आउटपुट आएगा. Maybe I get tired, my mind is fatigued, so maybe the output reduces. And this is a fact. I don't know why we are not realizing कि यार हम इंसान है, कोई मशीन या कोई घोड़ा नहीं है कि मारा पीटा और 25 घंटा काम कराया तो 25 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय दैट आउटपुट ऑफ द हॉर्स पावर इज व्हाट वील गेट. ऐसा नहीं होता है. लॉ ऑफ डिमिनिशिंग रिटर्न स्टेट्स दैट देयर इज अ पीक एंड अ डिप, एंड आफ्टर दैट देयर इज डिमिनिशिंग रिटर्न कि भैया उस वैल्यू का आउटपुट नहीं आने वाला. सो कीप दैट इन माइंड. कॉन्सेप्ट नंबर 3, दिस इज अ ट्रेजिडी ऑन नाउडेज सोशल मीडिया कि आजकल सक्सेस स्टोरीज में ये सेंटेंस आता है कि मैंने 18 घंटे काम किया, खूब मेहनत करी और अब मैं बिलियनर बन गया. चलो अच्छी बात है भाई, कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशंस. बट एट व्हाट कॉस्ट? व्हाट वाज द हेल्थ लॉस दैट यू हैड? व्हाट वाज द फैमिली एंड पर्सनल लॉस यू हैड? कि चलो अब पैसे तो आ गए, I hope you have somebody to share it with. we don't talk about. So this whole toxicity of success, without realizing at what cost we got that success of 18 घंटे काम करना, we need to think it through. बिकॉज कहीं ना कहीं आपको सेक्रीफाइस करना पड़ेगा, या तो हेल्थ का या फैमिली का या वट एवर. इट्स अ वेरी लार्ज वर्ल्ड ऑफ डिस्कशन, सो कीप दैट कॉन्सेप्ट इन माइंड. एंड द लास्ट 4 कॉन्सेप्ट इज, this happens in the corporate world and student world. More busy is, iska matlab I'm very important, and who doesn't want to be seen as an important person? So I've seen that. In fact, there was this one executive who showed me his calendar, and there was like not a single space to breathe. In fact, some slots were like 4 meetings, and he was very proudly saying कि मैं इंडिया का लीड हूँ, एडवाइज़र टू लीगल हूँ, स्ट्रेटेजिक टीम के अंदर भी जाता हूँ, और मतलब क्रिकेट टीम का भी कैप्टन हूँ अपनी कंपनी का. आई एम लाइक, बाप रे, व्हाट आर यू ट्राइंग टू प्रूव टू मी? दैट यू आर इम्पॉर्टेंट? गुड लक. I mean, I actually pitied for that poor gentleman, that he has no time to breathe. Or I personally get turned away by such Google calendars which are full, and मेरा तो दिमाग काम नहीं करता. But again, there are people who feel कि भाई busy होना बहुत बढ़िया बात है. लोग सोचते हैं कि आप बड़े important हो, success आपके पाँव चूमती है. I personally don't agree with that. So keeping those 4 concepts in mind, now let me give you my answer, that should one be busy or productive? And I'll give you 3 or 4 points. The first point is, my personal view, more busyness is equal to more working hours is bad for you. I personally agree with that, कि यार मेरा दिमाग और मेरा body after a certain hours needs rest. And if I don't rest, my productivity will go down. So I have to consciously protect my busyness and take rest. And if I'm more busy and I'm working very hard, it will tire me out and it will burn me out, and it's not good for me and my company. As a CEO of School of Meaningful Experiences, if I'm not going to take care of my health, it will impact my organization and my learners and my classes and my entire work. So I have to take rest. So more busyness is bad, and I firmly believe in that. So you could take note of that. Second, the ability to choose what you work is very important. You should control your time. Time is a gift. अब हर चीज में अगर आप लगा दोगे, that's not good. So people who control their time and use this in good projects that they want to do is a sign of good productivity, and it's nice. It's good for the confidence also. If time आपके हाथ में है ही नहीं और slip हो जाता है, and if you're not assertive, and if you'll sign every project that comes your way, it's a recipe of disaster. So please learn to say no. Please learn to hold time, very valuable resource, और ज़्यादा उसको दो मत. जो project है उसको अच्छे से कर लो before you sign up for new projects. So tip number 2 is, please learn to say no to all new projects. जो आपके plate में है उसको पहले कर लो, and control time, guard it. You should be able to keep time in your control rather than having no time at all. Tip number 3, I think one should question, there is this so what test मेरे एक इंटेल के बॉस ने मेरे को सिखाया था. एक दिन मैं उसके साथ बैठा and I was doing my performance management with him, and I said that I've done so many training programs, I've done this, I've done that, and he very coldly asked, so what? So I really got offended, but he helped me understand कि यार राकेश, तू इतना कुछ कर रहा है, उसका आउटपुट कैसे मेजर करेगा? Is it efficient? Is it useful? Is it productive? Is it of good quality? Will you be proud of this in the future? And this so what test I would like to give you, कि at the end of the day, look at your day, how you have spent, and ask yourself, so what? मैंने आज 3 घंटा मीटिंग्स में बैठा, so what? मैंने ईमेल का जवाब दिया, so what? मैं 4 घंटे ट्रैवल किया, so what? कस्टमर से मिलने गया, so what? I think be very brutal on it. So measure that with some output which is of good quality, which has an impact. And if you do that, that's productivity. भले ही आप 2 घंटे में करो चाहे 4 घंटे में करो, it's immaterial. What is important is the output and efficiency. I think that's what was discussed in that podcast, which was the right intent, कि अगर हमको देश में आगे बढ़ना है, प्रोडक्टिविटी इंप्रूव करो. उस प्रोडक्टिविटी को इंप्रूव करने के लिए मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. पॉइंट टेकन. Now, is that mehnat 14 hours a day or 4 hours a day is a debate that I have taken a stand that I would prefer to work smarter and in a way that my body and mind can do. And if that answer is 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, I'm happy with that. उसके बाद मुझको रेस्ट चाहिए because I also have other things to do in my life. I'm not going to work 14 hours a day and burn myself because it is bad for me, it is bad for my company, it is bad for my country. So on that note, I request all of you to ask yourself the so what test. आप जितने भी घंटे काम करो, so what? What is the output? What is the efficiency? Is it of value to someone else? Measure that. And if that answer is getting better and better, continue on that path. But please remember the law of diminishing returns. By investing more time, it doesn't mean that you'll get more of that. It might reduce. So protect your time. Take time to say no. Do things that are good for you and for the society. And if you follow that, I think I personally have benefited from that and I hope it benefits you as well. So on that note, ज़्यादा इस डिबेट पे टाइम वेस्ट मत करो. I think look at your own outputs, look at your own so what. I think this debate also should be asked with this question कि यार क्या तीर मार लिया हम लोगों ने इस डिबेट को करके. चलो अब थोड़ा सा काम कर लेते हैं और उसका आउटपुट मेजर कर लेते हैं. एंड इफ वी आर ऑन द राइट ट्रैक, दैट इज हाउ वी विल मूव फॉरवर्ड इन आवर कंट्री. स्टे सेफ.